Hey everybody, and welcome back to Living Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz, Jack and Later in Lake Jackson, and I'm going to make an awesome soup. I've tried it before and then sent some people like, hey, try it with this, try it with that. So we're just going to make a peanut-based chicken noodle soup. Like, that's just going to be cool. Before we get into it, be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube-y stuff, ring the bell down in that corner, get notifications when we do these as close to Friday and Tuesday as we can. Running a little behind. We're very busy. I apologize. And there's also a link down the doobly-doo for merch. We got some cool stuff. We're a small business. We appreciate it. And let's just get into the food. Less shameless plug, right? Everybody asked for that. Alright, looks like a lot of stuff. Some of it's optional. You're going to need a pot, probably bigger than that. You're going to want 4 chicken thighs. These are deboned and deskinned. They're still frozen, but don't worry about it. You got plenty of time to cook. I'm going to use half a jalapeno and some jalapeno puree to kind of spice this up, but that's optional. I'm going to get some shredded carrots, right? You can get regular carrots yourself. That's up to you. I'm using half a red onion. You can use any kind of onion you want. 4 cups of chicken broth. Now, this is reduced sodium because I'm trying not to get my heart to explode, but use whatever kind you can come across. Creamy peanut butter, because I can't stress enough how much chunky is gross, but it works really well in this one. All right, you can use either red pepper flakes or some chili oil. Again, it's optional. I'm going to use the pepper flakes just because I'm using this for when I'm sick and it helps get my nose running. The garden rotini, you can put any kind of pasta in here or you can just leave it out. It's up to you. It just makes it stretch over a longer piece of time, right, or more people. So get you a nice sharp knife. Shout out to Andy. Now you can cut an onion. You're cutting it all the way across. You get to the far side. Just go ahead and flip it over, grab it by the big piece, and cut towards the middle. Now, you're going to cut this up as small as possible because, again, you're putting it into a soup, okay? So just cut it down into rings. Check out these ultimate knife skills. You can tell that I have not been trained, and my Squire Barry is very mad at me for not being trained properly. I'm going to stack these back up, reconstituted onion, and then cut them again. Again, I guess you could use big rings if you're really into onion, but it's going to cook down, and you don't want just big mouthfuls of onion if you can. I'm turning it the other way, going to get it through here. Just kind of run your knife through it as best you can. You don't have to be a professional to use a knife, okay? I'm living proof. Just keep your fingers out of the way is the most important key, and get whatever you're trying to cut. I think it's the 2 things you really need to worry about when you're using a knife. All right, so cut it down and get it into a bowl off to the side and get it smaller pieces. Use the scissors to do whatever. Now, my chicken, I'm going to cut down to as small a piece as possible because, again, you're making soup. You don't want just a big mouthful of chicken meat right in the middle of it. All right, I screw up here. I don't cut all the way down to the board because I'm trying to save my knife. And then turn it the other way. Just kind of cube it here. But if you don't cut, you're going to end up with these long strings of, like, rectangular chicken meat. So here, I'll show you when it falls over. See how it's all still standing and doing whatever? Like, you need to cut it all the way down until you hit the actual cutting board. You can see how it's still stuck together. It's just the skin on the bottom. That should cook off, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of slice it down anyway. Make sure you get all those done. Now, my jalapeno, usually I'll gut it and get the seeds and stuff out, but because I'm putting it in a soup, I'm just going to go ahead and leave them. Grab it by the handle it's got, and again, cut it down into rings, stack it back up, and then we're going to cut it back the other way again. Right? Just trying to run your knife through it as much as possible, because again, nobody wants a giant mouthful of jalapeno. Okay? Well, there's probably somebody, but it ain't me. So just lay them down, cut it up, try to look fancy. See, get that little forward movement. Oh, anybody comes in the kitchen, you're like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And all you're doing is trying not to cut off your damn finger. So take that, just put it right in with your onions, and that's going to be fine, okay? Now get you a decent sized skillet or pot, and we're going to just go ahead and put it on medium high. Add our vegetables, that's our onion and our jalapenos. We're going to leave the carrots out until later, but we're going to go ahead and start cooking those, and then we're going to add our chicken directly on top. Now, I'm not adding any oil or butter or anything in here because of the frozen chicken, and the vegetables, they'll have enough water in it to cook it, keep it from sticking. But if you're worried about it sticking or your fire's too high, go ahead and add a little bit of butter, like a tablespoon of butter, or the same amount in like olive oil or any kind of cooking oil. You should be fine. But like I said, with the frozen stuff, it's going to cook down. There's going to be enough water. You kind of see it here where it's starting to build up and steam off. You're going to put it in here until it just starts to brown, where it's going gray to white. And while we're doing that, we're going to do our broth here, okay? Now, I don't think this pot's going to be big enough, so we're going to add our entire box of chicken broth. I didn't have a sharp knife at hand to stab it and make all the liquid come out faster, but remember, that's a kitchen hack I taught you. Now, once you get all that in there, you want to do about a cup and a cup and a quarter to a cup and a half of peanut butter in here, okay? You can take it, measure it in a measuring cup and get it out. You just seem to lose a lot of peanut butter that way. So I try to pull it out, make it look like it's close to my 1 cup and then close to a quarter cup and put it in there. It's not exact. It's a soup. If it's not peanutty enough, you can always add more later, okay? So just always bet on the underside. So get you a whisk, put this on medium to medium high heat, and then whisk this down until it's no longer got peanut butter islands in it, like peanut butter icebergs, whatever. This is what it's going to look like. It whisks relatively easy. It took maybe like 30 seconds to kind of get it down to this consistency. It's still very much soup. Now later, once you put more stuff in, it'll thicken, okay? So I had to swap to my wok, of all things, because I couldn't find my medium-sized pot, so I apologize. I just didn't realize how big a soup this was going to make. Okay, so go ahead and get this in here nice and whisked up. You get your chicken in here and make sure to keep stirring that, right? You don't want to just cook the stuff on the bottom. Your meat will get down on the bottom. When you put it on there, put the meat on the middle. So once you get that done, let's go ahead and season our broth. Now I'm going to use just a little bit of a tablespoon of our jalapeno puree. This is really good, but it's very salty, so be very careful. This is stuff, I think it's Louisiana brand. Jalapeno puree, but they have chipotle and some other stuff. It is really good if you can find it. I will always recommend getting those, just if you want just a hint of jalapeno without having to add a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, you got this in here. So let's go ahead and add our carrots. I'm just going to use half a bag of the shredded carrots. It should be about 3 to 4 carrots if you get decent sized carrots to put in there, and stir that around, get that in there. And then again, it's optional. The jalapeno stuff is optional, and the red pepper flakes are optional. It's about a tablespoon of that, just because I like it really spicy, because again, chicken noodles when I'm sick, and this tastes good, but I want it to open up my sinuses and all that crap too, so this really works for that. So give it a nice decent stir in there. Make sure I keep using my whisk, mostly just because it's rubberized and I can put it against that non-stick coating really easy. Again, make sure your chicken and stuff is good. It's getting that to that right about to brown part. Just go ahead and take it and just add that right in there. Now be very careful. You're about to dump a lot of stuff into a very hot liquid. Okay, so put this in here. So here, I'm gonna try to do it towards the camera without burning the crap out of myself. So once you get this in here, you want to give it a nice big stir, and then we're gonna simmer it a bit, okay? So you get it in here, the house is going to be smelling great, and you're like, how can this get any better? So what you need to do is go ahead and bring this up to a boil. Once it's boiling, blah, 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 you want to go ahead, keep stirring it, don't want to get anything stuck on the bottom. But once it boils, turn it down to a simmer, cover it if you can. Now if you got a pot with a proper lid, that's fine. This is a wok, so I end up using my cookie sheet because it fits perfectly, and it's got a little lip. Like, didn't buy it for that, but that's what it works. And you don't have to cover it. You can cover it with a plate or whatever you need, and let it sit for an hour at a simmer, right? It's going to cook the hell out of everything. It's going to make everything smell awesome. And then once you get it in there for an hour, go ahead, and I used half a box of this, so I think it said it was almost 2 cups over the of your pasta here, just a handful of pasta. Now you can leave it out and just use it as a regular soup, but I like this because it makes it, A, it thickens it up because you're going to cook it in there, and B, it helps it stretch across multiple people. So like instead of having 4 bowls, you're going to have like 8, and it's very filling and very thick in that way. Okay, so once you've had that in there, let it sit for 15 minutes. It'll cook the hell out of that pasta, thickens everything up, and it is ready to serve, man. It is absolutely amazing. Again, smells great. All right, so yeah, you got to try this. Again, it was the start of the peanut butter potato soup that I learned from the cookbook. It's supposed to be an African soup or whatever, but this is just a peanut thing. You got to try it. Some people say that it needed salt, but other than that, this is amazing. You can leave the spices out. Again, it's up to you. This works really well for meal prep. It is a soup. Just keep it in the refrigerator, keep it sealed, and this works out really well. It's well under our budget. The most expensive part of this was our chicken, because chicken is kind of getting ridiculous, but it was thigh, so it's the cheapest part. Got to try it. There you have it, folks. We Texaned up a peanut-based chicken noodle soup. Like, that is very cool. Again, this came from everybody else. Like, hey, we saw your other stuff. Try it like this. So if you do it differently, want to let us know, put it down in the comments. That's what they're there for, and we'll revisit this. We'll try it again. This is amazing. This is really, really good stuff, even though I'm not a fan of carrots, but I am a fan of peanuts, peanut butter, and chicken noodles, and most things. But like I said, if you want to let us know if you do it differently, if we're doing it wrong, whatever we did, put it down in the comments. You can also find us on social media. Tell us on Facebook, Pinterest, Patreon. We're all those at Live Between Paychecks Kitchen. You can also find us on Instagram at Live Between. I'll short it down over there. Remember, everything we do is under $10, and if I can do it, anybody can. All right? I'll see y'all next time. Y'all be safe. I'm going to go eat things. You don't catch my plugs later. I'm going to eat some more soup.